Yeah. Okay. Uh. Ooh-wee. Welcome back to another episode of Creative Mood. This week's episode is in English, and I'm happy about that. So if English is not your thing, my friend, you can tune out, I suppose. This week, I had the pleasure of speaking with someone that, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. He's a friend. Rishi Dhir from the band Elephant Stone is someone I've known for a few years now, is someone that I have immense respect and admiration for, not only as a human being, but through his creative output and his process. I find him to be an endless well of inspiration, and his ideas are always brilliant, and his execution, and beyond that, the determination of this man is not to be underestimated. Rishi is like my favorite brown guy. I love him. We are here today to talk about the song La Fusée du Chagrin off of his EP that came out February 18th, of this year, titled Le Voyage de Monsieur Lonely Dans la Lune. An EP he co-wrote with Felix Dyotte, a French singer-songwriter from Quebec. Some of you probably know of him already. We're going to break down that song, but before we do that, we're going to have a good catch-up. We have a lot of catching up to do. I met Rishi through Stingray, through our friend Kieran Tom, who we briefly mentioned in the intro of this podcast, someone we love and adore. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to update some of you on some of my creative endeavors, because after all, it's all connected, right? Mood Boards has started rehearsals as a 4-piece, and it's been really exciting. As well, I've been putting the last month of my life dedicated towards the live show of my bandmate and best friend, Foray, aka Jeanne Gagné. We have our first show as a 3-piece in Baie-Saint-Paul on the 26th of this month. Funny that I don't play guitar at all, and this will be the first time I play guitar on stage. No biggie, right? Also, work on the album. I decided to change the title. I'm gonna pull a Rishi here, and I'm actually gonna name my album something French because it didn't sound good in English. I'm gonna call it Fils d'immigrant, and I'm gonna do some sort of homage to the Doors with the album cover. As I get older, I feel that my ethnic background needs to take a bigger part in my life, and I guess it's no happenstance that I'm talking with Rishi today. On that note, we cue to the ads. Whoa, easy there, big fella. We are not about to jump into the episode just yet. I want to talk about our sponsors, La Boutique Audiophonie. Those people are awesome. They repair and sell audio equipment. I know that a lot of you listening have that stuff and that you need to get it fixed, because I know I do. They clean, they solder, they replace any parts that you need. Those people are authorized by the biggest brands, so you know that they're legit. They've recently started offering at-home pickup, on-the-phone estimations, and they guarantee their work for up to 90 days. They are located at 5971 Saint-Hubert on the plaza. They have a website, audiophonie.ca, or you could email them at audiophonie@live.ca. Of course, they also have an Instagram account. Those people believe in us, and I want them to succeed just as much. If you mention this podcast, you will get a 10% discount on any repairs that you need. It's that simple, folks. You know what to do.
and then like I look terrible.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, it's like I didn't want to share it because I'm like, I look terrible.
I don't know about the whole video filming thing. I feel like people have offered me, international artists or people that are not from Montreal, and they're like, can you do a Zoom? And I'm like, man, I want to meet the person face to face.
But if you had a camera in here, it would be good too.
We're getting some.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we're getting some, baby. But it's just a matter of time, and I want to really just meet people in person.
Yep.
Right now, I'm at the stage where like the experience of sitting down with someone, I can't do another fucking Zoom meeting.
Yeah. This is the desk?
This is the desk.
Yeah, I remember when you got this desk.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, Kieran was asked one of his buddies to go pick it up in Ontario, and he was gonna drive it down to Montreal like a month later when he was coming to Montreal. Kieran got the whole operation on lock.
That's amazing.
Rishi, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We are talking about Kieran,
Yeah.
which is a common friend of ours.
Yes, a very
What's up, Kieran?
good dear friend. Yeah.
He helps you musically, right? He's quote unquote always a bit in your music somehow.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the guru. He's like the recording guru, mixing guru. He's played a big role in both our lives. And he plays a big role to this day.
Absolutely.
Him and I just bought Paul McCartney tickets.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh man, Paul McCartney's still touring. I love that.
79. I know, it's crazy.
I wish that for you. You know what I mean? Like I want us to be old men, still fucking rocking.
Nothing's stopping us.
Rishi.
Sasha.
Elephant Stone. I've known you. We used to work. Well, I used to work at Stingray with you.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. And I'll be honest, it was very funny when before you came in, people were like, "Oh my God, Rishi's gonna start working here." I was like, "What the fuck is Rishi?" You know.
Who was saying that?
Well, Kieran and Chris and PJ and like everybody was really happy, even Pat Binette for some reason, and it was just. So many chance opportunities of meeting people like yourself and Kieran at Stingray. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, like it's, first of all, thank you for being here, man. I really appreciate it because I love your music.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been talking about this for a while.
It's crazy. Yeah. Look at us. We're making it through COVID.
Yeah, we do. 2 years later.
Yeah, man. So I guess I just want to sort of like, simplify things for people who don't know you. Elephant Stone is I would say psychedelic rock band. Can we say that?
That's a fair tag. Yeah,
okay.
I think that covers it. Yeah.
How long have you been doing this? Like, let's say Elephant Stone, for example.
Well, I guess I started it after I left the Hideout, so since 2006. The first track I ever did was in October 2006.
Okay.
So wait, how many years ago is that? That's like 16 years ago.
16 years ago.
Yeah, 16 years
Let's
ago.
say 16.
16 right, years ago I've been... Yeah.
16 it is.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's crazy. And this record now is it out?
It came out February 18th.
Okay, got it. And what number record is that?
I think it's like five full lengths and 2 EPs. So this is like my second EP. So seventh release. Yeah.
I'm really excited to talk with people who have released a lot of music. It's so different. I really enjoy talking with younger artists because the energy is completely different.
It's very new. They have a lot to prove.
Yes, and because of that, I found that, and this is to any younger artist listening, because I know some of you are, it's really, I feel that because there's more to prove, there's a lot more guard. Mm-hmm. Where I found when I discuss music and creative process with more experienced musicians and artists, it's just such an open book of wisdom and honesty. This record is different than the others in the sense that this one is in French.
It's different in many ways, and French is one of them.
Let's talk about that. So what makes it? Why is this record and why is it different? What was your approach for this thing?
Well, I get this is the pandemic record. It's like I had a lot more time at home, at my home studio, and we weren't touring. All our touring got canceled, so I just took the opportunity to say, well, I'm going to learn how to mix my album, and I'm going to, and also I started working on these songs. I was trying to write. What usually happens with me, after I finish an album, I get a little depressed because I'm like, oh, this is it. So after Hollow came out in 2020, I get a little down. I'm like, oh, I'm going to write a new record right away. And I go in and I start writing songs. Can I swear?
You can say what the fuck you want.
Okay. So it came out and the songs were shit. And I was like, this is terrible. It's always like that. I play for my wife and she's just not impressed. She's like, oh. And it's always like that. I'm like, God damn it. She's like, you do this every time. I'm like, okay, I just need some time to think about things. So I kept working on tracks, and then usually for like everybody's songwriting process is similar but different.
Yep.
I remember because I interviewed Greg Dully from the Afghan Wigs. Do you know the Afghan Wigs?
Of course I know.
I was a huge fan when I was 15. They were united. So for Cult, Montreal,
yep.
I asked, can I interview Greg? Like, because when I was...
this is really giving yourself an opportunity to talk to someone you like.
Well, no, this is huge. I'm getting sidetracked a bit, but when I was 15, I went to see the Afghan Wigs at Cafe Campus.
Wow. Okay.
So it was for the album Gentleman. So I was there, front row, huge fan, and I managed. My brother and I started chatting up the opening band. Nice guy, Paul K. He's like, hey man, do you want to come meet the band? I was like, sure. So he took us backstage at Cafe Campus, and there was the Afghan Wigs like rolling a huge joint, drinking like single malt whiskey. I'm like, wow. So they brought me in. They gave me whiskey. They gave me weed, and they taught me about soul music, like about stacks. Way. It was crazy. I was like,
what?
Yeah, that night was huge in my life. So
yeah, dude.
The fact that Greg Dully was coming back, I was like, I want to meet him and tell him this. But anyways, so I interviewed him.
Wait.
Yeah.
I also want to talk for 1 second because I want this on record. You also had a similar experience with the guy from Primus.
Oh, Primus. Oh yeah. Well, Les Claypool. Well, when I was a kid, I went to every show.
This is probably my favorite story of yours. Wait, is what he told you?
Oh no, wait. Oh, wait, because there's the Frank Black story, which is a bad one.
Well, no, because Les Claypool told you he was the bass player.
No, he said, wait, no, what was it?
Tell this story.
I know. I don't think was it that. It was like, no, I think I just went to him after the show. I'm like, you're the Godfather. And he's like, yeah, I'm the Godfather of bass. Yeah.
And his voice, I could just hear his voice.
Yeah, no, because when I was a kid, I used to go to every show, like Rage Against the Machine.
That's crazy.
Urge Overkill, any band, and I would try to meet them after the show. Like, you
were that guy.
Yeah, I was that kid. I was the one that waited around the tour bus.
I was never ballsy enough to.
Oh, yeah, no. That's because, I just worshipped, like, when you worship people like that.
Of course.
But, so Greg Dully, so I interviewed him for Cult Montreal. I was totally fanboy. And then it's the first time I spoke to like a big artist about their songwriting process. And I was like, oh, what's your songwriting process like? And he's like, well, it's like everyone else's. I come up with chords and a melody with gibberish lyrics, and then I add the lyrics after. I'm like, that's exactly what I do. And so that kind of just demystified it for me. I was like, well, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Suddenly you can relate.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is what everyone does. And that's why when you asked about this new EP, I had this melody, I had the chords, and I came up with gibberish lyrics, but the sounds of the words
inform
what the lyrics are going to be. And for this is the first time ever, the sounds that I was making sounded French.
Okay.
It's like it was like completely different. Like singing in French and English, completely different.
Absolutely not.
And so I just was like, oh, this is interesting. And so I had this was Monsieur Lonely, and then Fusée du Chagrin, same thing. They all just kind of revealed themselves to me. At that point, I was like, wow, okay, I need to do this in French. And then my buddy Felix Dyotte came over for drinks one day, and we were talking, and I was like, would you want to help write lyrics? Because I wrote a whole storyline. I had all the songs mapped out, but I didn't have words. So Felix took the tracks I gave him, the really bad demos.
That your wife didn't like?
No, she liked those ones. She saw the potential in those ones. And he came back.
Just making sure.
He came back with the lyrics. And then so I spent a long time recording these tracks in my studio and making sure, because like first time singing in French for me, really. And
how did that feel?
It was good. It was a big challenge. It was nice because I found like it felt real, like it felt genuine singing it, and it's believable. It's like ultimately the thing I learned about French music is that the lyrics matter much more than English. English, you can get away, you can just drown everything in echo and reverb, and people don't care. But for French, they care about the sound of the words.
Generally speaking, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I had to really make that the focus, and which was great, because then it pushed me to become a better singer and more
and songwriter and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
and So this whole process was like, it was in French, I recorded it, and seeing as I wasn't touring, I also decided to mix it because I didn't have any budget. This was like a labor of love. So, and that's where our buddy Kieran was my advisor on the whole mixing process. And it was great. It was huge.
You know, I would really call Kieran advisor.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because beyond the tasks that he does,
Yeah.
he's always so spiritually like, yeah, no, I don't think so.
No, and he knows what's good.
He's my Rick Rubin.
Yeah, he's he's in yoga, like he's like in a yoga position all the time.
Absolutely.
Just saying, I'm feeling this. No, but he was great. When I was the whole mixing time process, he would like, this frequency is not working here. Too much build up here. And
I can't believe he hears that stuff.
yeah, no, but the more you do it, like now I've been mixing for a year now, and I hear stuff. You find it's like anything. It's like songwriting, becoming a mixer. You have,
Absolutely.
you know what you like, and I know what I like now, and it's really very liberating.
Shit, man. And how did you? I mean, I know you've been doing this for a while, but like, I don't think that it changes the fact that like changing the language in which you speak in your songs must have been really. Weren't you nervous about that to some degree, or like maybe you had some type of apprehensions about this? I would have. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I had people asking me why. Why are you doing this? I'm like, well, why not? And you know, ultimately, my Miles, my drummer, he's francophone, and we always talked about it. He's like, we should do a song in French. I'm like, yeah. You know, we're from Quebec.
Yeah.
And it's just how it goes here. You know, like English, French, why not mix it? And with us, and it just felt, to me, these songs had to be in French. Like I actually, at one point, I'm like, oh, maybe I should also do an English version, but not at all. Did not work at all. And yeah, there's apprehension. I didn't know how people would react to it, even to when it was released. But ultimately, like it's funny because when I released it on my label as well, so I hire all the publicists, and we were originally just gonna focus on Quebec. But then my U.S. publicist heard it, and she was like, oh, this is great. I want to work this. I'm like, oh. And ultimately, it's just music in the end. But it's funny. Like yesterday, I did read the Twitter sphere world, kind of saying how disappointed they were with this release. And
really?
Yeah, and it's true. I can understand because, like, majority of people don't care about lyrics. They don't listen to lyrics. They just want the melody. They want the vibe. But some people want to relate to music through words. And this fan of mine, he's like a lifelong fan. He's just said, I can't connect to it.
Right.
And I guess because he doesn't know French.
Doesn't speak the language.
Yeah, speak language, and I can understand that. And I respect that.
But then what becomes of the idea that like you are the creator of art, you know, you create whatever you're the creator. And the idea that, like, if you're a fan, you're allowed not to like things as, you know, you have preferences within an artist's repertoire. But I also feel that, like, I'm like that where I want to allow to be, my favorite artists, I like when they challenge me, take me on a journey, you know, and isn't that the dilemma also that you find, like, as you're putting out all these records now, you're looking back in the rearview mirror now, you have this accumulated body of work. For me, it would make sense that you wouldn't want to do the same record that you did before. But for some other people, it's like, oh, but you're not doing something that I can't, like, as you know, as you just put it, like, I can't connect with it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about my discography is, like, no two albums sound the same. Like, yes, it's in that, excuse me, whole psychedelic rock world, but they don't sound the same.
Yeah,
like
sure.
every album. And like I remember, because I think my album Ship of Fools in 2016, like that one got a lot of backlash from fans. Just the fact that it was more electronic and stuff. I was getting way into
Interesting.
I was into Ableton. I was like getting into the stuff I was sampling. So that album people really don't like, and I respect that. But that in some ways that was my most commercially successful for radio.
Okay.
Because I guess it was the most modern sounding of my
Okay. Yeah.
albums. But yeah, no, but every album sounds different. But that guy that commented on that, he said, I'm a lifelong fan, but I don't like this. And that's cool.
It's cool that he was honest and he wasn't like being like, fuck this.
I've read reviews. I read people, like after Ship of Fools, one guy's like, I'm done with this band. It's like everyone else can, all the hip kids can have this music. I don't want this. I'm like,
I love these grandiose statements.
I know well, art and music.
Of course,
people feel very passionate about it, especially bands at my level. We're not big by any means. We have a dedicated small fan base, and they really,
they dig what you do, and they're there for it.
Yeah, exactly. They want to support it, and then they feel abandoned.
Well, it's just that, like, I wasn't, I forget, like, how many presidents of music there are out there, I'm sorry, Mr. President of Music, that I disrupted your taste.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's, I also found that, like, also working at Stingray made me realize that, like, some music programmers are so, like, there's an identity through the styles of music that you like and why you like things, and, I gotta be honest, I kind of dislike that vibe of it. People are so like, like it's so easy to shit on something.
Yes.
To be like, whatever, this is not cool. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, dog, but like that's a person's life.
No, but it's funny. To bring it back to mixing, listening to music, you can listen to music as a songwriter. You can listen to music as an engineer. You can listen to it just a music fan.
Yep.
You can listen to it as a producer. You can listen to it as a mixer. So,
which ears are you putting on?
Yeah, and like
very well said.
I started listening to music as a mixer to hear, and like at that point, I learned to appreciate so much more different styles of music.
Yeah,
because I'm like, how do they get that bass so fat? Like, what's happening there and that? Oh, and it's just like it's a lot of different hats to wear. It's very schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Because like you said, as a programmer, music programmer, you're kind of like trying to express your identity through someone else's art.
Yeah.
So you're curating other people's art to fit your identity. It's like, it's a mixtape.
It's weird.
It's the mixtape. It's the classic mixtape.
Absolutely.
I used to back in my day, I used to make mixtapes all the time.
You used to mix like Bollywood music, didn't you?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, my Bombay the hard way, yeah. It was a Casa del Popolo. I used to do once a month. Oh,
excuse me, was that your DJ name or your event?
I was DJ Daisy Power. That was amazing. Oh, I lost my mind doing that.
Really?
Oh man, it was like 9 till 3 in the morning of nonstop Bollywood.
Yeah, that kind of feels...
I hated it after that. I can't... Now when people are like, oh, listen to this, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Bombay the hard way. That's hard, dude. That's hard. I like this.
Yeah, it was fun for a bit, but then...
Like all good things.
Yeah, I had to come to the end. I was like, I'm done with this. I haven't looked back.
You said to me that like that record was different in many aspects. So for one, the French language. The other aspect was that you mixed it yourself. Is there something else that made this record different to you?
I mean, it's an EP. I haven't done an EP in a while. Like I always try to make a bigger statement. The Glass Box was my 2010 release. That was another EP I did. That was like a stopgap after our first record. So that was, EPs are fun. I think EPs are fun. You can make a really quick statement.
Yeah.
You can get
it out there, so to speak.
For my 2010 release, I was like, oh, I'm doing this all analog. I did a 2-inch tape, 16 track, hardly any overdubs, all analog. So like that was my whole thing. I'm like, this release is going to be this because it's an EP.
Oh man, that sounds like a nightmare.
It was fun. It was imperfect. But it has charm. I know people like that a lot. Like,
of course,
it's such a little time capsule.
I started to have to get into that idea a lot because I was so like in the last few years of my life, I've been so much about learning how the electronic shit works that now like all my songs are like I don't know that I want to quantize, Yeah. Like for sure I'll quantize my drum machines if that's the goal, but like everything else I feel has to be a little less thoughtful because then
you're trying to add the more human aspect,
right? But also, I forget who I was listening to, probably like Rick Rubin. But it's like I don't want to give the sense that you're listening to a really good editing job. Yeah, I want you to listen to mood boards, not like yo, this mix is the shit. Like,
you're coming up, you're developing your own identity for music.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to figure out what that is.
And it's liberating actually.
Yeah,
because. I notice I work, I have, as you do as well, we have so many people around us who make music and it's like, you start to see how so many of other people's music, it's literally perfection. Pitch is perfect, timing is perfect, everything's perfect. It's all on the grid, it's all locked. And it's like, yeah, but then
No,
where are you?
my wife, every Friday night, my wife and I, we hang out in my studio and just have a few drinks and listen to music.
Oh, sick.
And we listened to the new Tears for Fears album.
Yeah?
And it was good, but then I think it was Break the Man. It just sounded like, I was like, oh, fucking auto-tune, man. I was like, it's so tuned. And and Kirsty, she's like my executive producer. She knows what's good, she knows what's bad. And she's like, I don't like something about this. And I was like,
Right.
oh, it's the auto-tune. So then we put on older Tears for Fears. And she's like, that's like a Mad World or something. She's like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, man, that song.
Yeah.
Oof.
I know it's just like, it's just unfortunate. Like, they're great. You know, it's very produced, the new stuff. I'm not like a huge Tears for Fears fans, but they put out so many good songs.
Yeah, it's crazy that they put out a new record, though.
And it's great. The songs are really strong, but it's just so perfect.
I think that's because, I think that's, maybe it's because these gentlemen are older and maybe he felt a little insecure this time about his voice.
Well, they're competing. They're competing with the pop world. Like,
right.
That's a big thing. Like, I know for music I make, I'm not competing with the pop world.
Right.
I'm in the psych world, so I can get get away with stuff.
Yeah.
But they want to compete with the big leagues.
It's funny. I've never used autotune or pitch correction.
Oh yeah, no, I use it. I use Melodyne.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against it. It's just that I'm so new at music. I feel like I'm such a baby that I'm like, well, no, I actually enjoy the idea of doing the best take I can do.
Well, no,
that idea.
Like my approach for that is like I sing the song like 10 times, and then I comp it, and then I fix it if there's anything off.
Yeah,
but also Melodyne's super. I remember for this song, La Fusée du Chagrin, I melodined the bass because it was in the wrong octave. And it's funny. It's funny because this is the thing. I was mixing, and I was like, oh, fuck, where's the bottom end? I lost the bottom. I was like, I gotta have bottom. So I melodined it, I think, and I just brought it down an octave just because I had.
Well, that's different, though.
Yeah, I know.
That's different.
Yeah,
that feels like that's using your tools properly.
Yeah, I know.
You know, whereas like for me, I feel like it's just that spiritually, I like making music.
Yeah.
I want to make better music.
Yeah.
By putting autotune, I'm fixing a problem. I'd rather learn to sing better.
Yeah.
And force myself out of a comfort. If I have to fix something at the 11th hour or use it for a production effect, I'll use it. No problem. But like, you know, I want to say, yeah, I did that.
No, I mean, like I've been making records since the 90s.
Yeah, think about that.
We didn't.
Yeah, right.
Autotune was not in our world. I remember I did an album in 98, 99 on like half-inch 8-track. Like it was.
Dude, I can't believe people made music on tape. What the fuck?
I know, that's crazy.
Like I would just be looking at the tape. Where's the music?
It was a Fostex, I remember, and like shit happens. I remember you accidentally erased the whole bass track.
Oh man.
I remember that happened in one song, and we're like, okay, we're gonna have to come up with something else.
I was listening
There's
to.
no undo.
Yeah, there's no undo. Exactly. No pum Z.
Exactly.
I was listening to again. I guess it was Rick Rubin, and they were suggesting that the reason why Sly and the Family Stone's records sounded so dirty and funky is because these people were always fucked up. So they were always redoing takes on tape. And back then, the notion was that, like, don't redo takes. You know, you got to keep the tape pristine. You got to keep the quality of the tape. And these people were not listening to that rule, so they were just always re-recording. And it just became the nature of the tape itself. It wasn't like a decision almost. It just...
Yeah.
Sly was always fucked up. They were always fucked up, redoing tapes, you know, and so...
tape, if you look at people mixing days, like, tape is everything. Like, I was talking to you about Luna. It's like this new audio, like, recording system.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. What is that?
They call it, it's a universal audio recording system. It's not they don't call it a DAW. It's a recording system. But it's great. But it's a lot for the kind of analog obsessed people, so you can... add tape to every track and tape saturation and stuff. That's like learning my mixing style. Like for this EP, it was huge discovery for me, figuring everything out. I had to go one way to come back to the other side, you know?
But it's funny that because hearing you talk, you learned how to mix. But like, I think it's kind of misleading when you say that, because you obviously know how to mix. Like, you knew how to mix before. I think what you're saying was probably just perfecting that aspect of it. Because I've never heard like a shitty, even your demos don't sound like, you know.
Well, they don't sound terrible, but they don't sound great. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this, I started recording in the 90s, and, you know, it starts off, you know, like I recorded RCA Studio Victor. It's all like a mystery. You're like, wow, you trust the engineers. And my whole life, I'm always so apprehensive to take the next step. Mm-hmm. Like, remember, because my first band, I wasn't the songwriter, I was the bassist. And then I finally wrote one sitar song, and then going to the next stage of leaving that band and then saying, I need to write my own songs. And then I need to demo, I need to know how to record, you know, like, how do you plug in a sound card? Like, you know, when you get your first sound card, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, bro. Thank God for Kieran.
So I didn't have Kieran helping me back then. But it's just, I forgot what was my train of thought. I got lost there.
That happens all the time, baby.
Oh, but mixing, yeah. So, I trying to learn to mix made me realize I didn't know how to mix.
I understand.
It was really like, wow, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's very much like a painting.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have the foundation and just start building up from there and know what you're doing and make sure everything's perfect along the way.
You must have had a lot of fun doing it, though.
Oh, I loved it. It was great.
Like, because coming from now, your experience, you're not 16 years old. You're bringing experience into this process now. You're much more aware, and you knew some pitfalls, I'm sure, to just like...
You know, and I've worked with amazing engineers like Jay Slasic from the Best Nurse Break Class, Marcus Paquin, he produced one of my records. I've worked with them and I saw how they worked. Mm-hmm. And so my kind of mixing approach, I went to both their worlds and kind of brought together what and I had to figure out my thing, what I like. Because there's infinite tools and plugins out there, right? Yeah. It's insane.
I want to, now that I have it in my mind, I want to switch gears and just ask you, because I'm about to do a lot of live shows for Mood Boards and for Foray. Give me some pointers, man. Like, what are some pitfalls? Because I'm using a computer. This is going to be my setup right here. A guitar.
Okay, don't use a computer. I mean, because I used a computer for. You remember? I used a computer.
Yeah, bro, we've had that story. Don't shit on me. Encourage me, dog.
I used a computer for a while. I remember for Elephant Stone, we had a show in Yellowknife.
Dog, I know that you're going to tell me. Go ahead.
And just. Like the day I'm like, my computer was not turning on.
Yeah, but you're also the idiot that didn't bring the right USB dongle.
That was another time. That was in Amsterdam. That was terrible. Oof. Every song, the computer wouldn't. Don't use a computer.
Yeah, but like, okay, how long ago was that?
2017.
Don't use a computer.
You know, well, I don't know.
Okay, well,
no. Use a computer if you're going to be the computer guy.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
Don't be like me, put the computer behind the amp with the sound card and say, good luck.
Okay, got it. So that's different.
That's different. Yeah.
I'm literally standing next to it or behind it.
Yeah, no.
And also, I just bought a 2021 MacBook.
Oh, beautiful.
Powerful, and I'm not using it. So the only thing I do with it is it's got Ableton and my live set.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're the computer guy, then that's the way to go. That's the way you're supposed to make it work. For live shows...
I'm thinking of going in-ears.
Maybe you're jumping the gun a bit. You know, don't overthink it. It's
because I don't know, like reverb and delay, man. Monitor feedback. This is
why
bullshit.
Do you need reverb and delay through your wedges?
Well,
because you're sending the effects from your.
Well, I'll be adding reverb and delay to some of my songs vocally. Yeah. You know.
Wow, because you're producing from the stage.
No, like no. So
because reverb delay, if you're going to go wedges, you'll have feedback issues with your microphone. Mm-hmm. So going in ear is the smart thing to do.
There you go.
But then you're going to manage the in ear mixes, and who's going to mix that?
I am.
Yeah.
Like I don't like I'm good enough now where like I don't have to have the perfect mix. I just want to hear that I'm on pitch.
But what's in the live setup for you? You have a drummer?
We have a drummer.
Okay.
We have, but we have no. We're not playing on a click right now. Like we're just like the only stems that we're using, for example, for Don't Let Me Go, there's an intro with a cello.
Yep.
I'm just looping that. So there's no point for us to go in at a certain point.
There's no sequence playing throughout.
Well, there is, but like we don't need they're atmospheres. They're just like drones.
Okay. That was the problem I made. A mistake I made when I was doing it. It was on the grid. We were using Ableton. And so my poor drummer. Every song we had it through Ableton, a session, a scene.
Yeah.
And
my man knows. A scene, whatever, very casually dropping.
Like, so my drummer, Miles, would have his in-ears in, and it would be like, love the center, 1, 2, 3, 4. Every song, and then poor guy. It ruined. Like, for what we did, rock and roll, this shouldn't be like that.
Yes.
It killed any creativity. The fact that we were so locked to the grid that you couldn't explore. And I think for live music...
Yes, you need to have that freedom.
That's why it's good. If you have someone managing the computer, it allows that freedom instead of just following the machine. You know?
Yeah. What the biggest concern for me was that like so much of my identity is through my drum production.
Okay.
You know, like the drum sounds, I make them from scratch, using FM synths. So, like having a drummer is cool. It makes it more rock and roll. But I'm like, we're sort of removing ourselves from the sound. So what I did is he has an SPDSX and a drum kit. So now I have that leeway. So that sort of eliminated the need to have drum machines.
See, my live show and my albums are different. I treat it as different experiences. Like. Yeah. The album concept to me is like, I can really craft it and tweak and make it. But like, I know because like we're playing this EP live now with the band.
Yep.
And I'm a bit more or less foul with it. Like I let people do what they want to do and I'll try to craft it. But it's hard, it's hard to make it sound like, I know Tame Impala, they're very specific about the live shows gotta sound like the album.
It's funny that you mentioned them. This is one of the last conversations we had in face-to-face, you and me.
Oh, really, about Tame Impala?
Absolutely. And then this pandemic thing happened.
Exactly.
Yeah. So go on. Like what you're saying is that I've also gotten to that conclusion now where like I'm not going to be solo on stage or a duo. So now that we're a 4-piece,
that's great.
It's like no more sequences.
That's great.
I got a dude, Nassim. Shout out Nassim. He can replicate any sounds on his synths. Like he understands that knowledge. So, and I never found a keyboard player that could go into mood boards and say very easily, "Yeah, I understand every sound that you're making."
Yeah, that's great.
That's like, whoa, okay, so I don't even need to tell you. And then he comes here and he gives me suggestions. He's like, so for this sound, I made these 3 patches. Which do you prefer? I'm like, where have you been?
I want this guy.
Yes. He's 20, years old.
Oh, that's where
he kicks my ass, dude. He's amazing. And same thing with my drummer. They're both university dudes.
Nice.
Clément is like 26, 28, man. He's a human drum machine.
Nice.
Like I love that they're so good that my shit's so easy.
It makes your job easier.
Yeah, but they're also like, it's very humbling. Oh yeah, so like, and you're like, yeah, it took me a long time to figure this out, and you just sort of got it in 2 seconds.
And you're a drummer.
And I'm...
yeah, you're like good.
Yo, man, I'm excited to come and see you play live. You know that you're the last show I saw?
At Esco.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a lot of people's last show.
Yes.
Yeah, it was packed.
Bro, it was the best last show.
Yeah, it was a good one.
That show was fucking crazy. The house was packed, but like packed in a way that's uncomfortable, uncalled for, unnecessary.
Yeah.
And yet, super sexy.
I know. I remember a few months later, I'm like, I can't believe I was with that many people in such a small space. Yeah, that was like a packed show. It was fun. It was
what
good.
A great souvenir, though.
Yeah, it was nice. It was after we just got back from Europe, I think. So.
And you played with Maggie.
Yep.
Which I've since then I've met.
Oh, it was a great album. Great album. Sweet person.
Super
sweet,
nice. Yeah.
Super nice, sweet person. Yeah.
I'm just excited that you're here, dude. Shit, let's catch up a little bit, man. Like, I know that you got into making bread too. This is such a pandemic thing.
Pandemic thing. Yeah, it was bread. What else did I do? I guess my pizza. I've been doing my pizza.
Oh, okay.
A lot. I built a fence. That was a big thing.
I've seen that.
It's been a lot of first for everybody, I guess, over the pandemic, right?
Sure.
We had a lot more time at home. I never leave my house. I go running a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, man. Like, I feel that, like, so this podcast has transformed into something where, like, I didn't think about this, but, like, people listening, they really enjoy, like it makes people feel good that we talk about those things. Like, so many people have just been doing nothing or need the push, or just the idea that like they relate to what artists are saying has been making people feel really good. And like, I think that a lot of creative people, we're used to making things, so then, okay, pandemic, what do we do? Some people have been really cool about like, well, I'm just watching TV.
Yeah.
And like, that was the thing before and that's the thing now. But for creative people, it's created this like, fuck.
Well, a lot of people also had a really hard time, the creative people, right? They're like...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what am I doing now?
What am I doing now? No, yeah. And it's like, luckily I'm in a position where I had my studio at home that I could just go to every day and...
Did you just lose yourself in there?
Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot. I mean, we released... I remember when it first hit... I started doing live streaming sessions, sacred sound sessions. That was my big.
Yes.
Everyone was live streaming, but I got a really nice thing set up, and I was doing a weekly thing. And I
remember that.
Yeah, it was fun for a while, but then it just took so much time that I was like, oh, I need to write new music.
Yeah.
So I released a single, wrote the EP. I just finished a movie as well.
The movie.
Hollow, my last album, was like a concept album. Hey, it's funny.
Of course, I know that.
Yeah, you were there throughout the whole thing. I remember sending you the demos.
Absolutely,
I heard that.
I feel connected to Hollow.
Yeah, I remember I sent it to you, and you're like, "This is solid, man."
Absolutely.
So,
for those who don't know, like Rishi and me, we sat like at eyesight of each other.
We can make googly eyes at each other across the hallway. But I worked with Laurent Jusserin.
Yeah.
She's a local artist, animator.
Dude, I never saw this movie.
It's not out yet. It's coming out. Oh. It's coming out in May.
I felt like a bad friend. I'm sorry.
No, it's coming out in May, and it's like an animated 10-minute film based on Hollow.
Wow.
It's it's great. And so I took the first 6 songs, which is like, it's like about, it's about the end of the world and humanity goes to another planet.
I did have that thought where I was like, it's funny that you made this record.
I've been making that record for a long time. Like Ship of Fools is the same thing. It's about the end of humanity.
You could have been so like vindictive about the whole thing. You'd be, I fucking told you people.
I told you people.
No one listens to their shit.
Well, it's not over yet, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's over though. It feels like the
end.
It
always feels like it's over and then something else happens and you're like, oh, it's over now.
Oh, you know what though? I'll tell you what, I'm that guy who never said that throughout the whole pandemic. People were like, oh, it's over soon. I'm like, you're tripping, dog. You're fucking tripping. But like now I know that it's over because it's the finances are not following. Like I can tell now that like globally, and in Quebec and Canada, like COVID's not over, but we can't keep financially doing what we're doing. That's why it's going to stop.
Yeah. It's funny. You're saying over as something is finishing. I'm talking about over as the end of humanity. Well, it's the same thing. You're like, I'm like, it's over. We're both like, it's over.
Fuck it.
It's over. But no, so yeah, this animated film. So it's like, it's.
Can you give me the artist's name again?
Laurent Jusserin.
Okay.
She lives around here. And the fun thing about it was I took Hollow, the first 6 songs, I stripped everything back and I rescored it with orchestral arrangements.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like it's like a 10-minute film.
For the film?
For the film.
Okay, so I haven't heard this.
No. So it was interesting because I had the storyline. Lorraine did the storyboard. And then she did rough sketches. And then I kind of built the score around that to fit. So each song's about like a minute and a half. But it's completely different. It's all...
Dude, that's great.
It was I used Spitfire Audio sound library.
Yep.
It was the Abbey Road 1 strings.
Nice.
So it's great. It was a really, again, pandemic times, I learned how to arrange strings and orchestral arrangements. So that was a big thing on how to place it and the cello, viola, and
Dude, I Spitfire Labs is what they're called.
Yeah, I remember I posted on Facebook. Then you were like, "Oh, check out the free stuff." And the free stuff's amazing.
Dude, that's what I used for "Don't Let Me Go."
Yeah,
it's like the cello.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
No,
it was great.
It's such a wealth of goodness there.
Sure, man. Like, I'm not a plug-in guy, but like for sure I was like,
it's funny because this whole mixing process, I was about to go, I went and had a hybrid setup. It was like digital analog, exporting to like hardware, then back to the computer for this EP.
Yeah.
But as I've been mixing, I kind of just do everything in the box now. I remember I was going to buy like a 2-track 1/4-inch machine, a reel-to-reel, just to have that. But then it just was too complicated.
Life's too short, Rishi.
Yeah.
Don't do that to
and
yourself.
I have a plugin that does that.
Yeah.
Literally.
Heyo.
I remember at Osheaga years ago, I met Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips. I was like, Wayne, I play sitar. He's like, oh man, I got a plugin that does that.
Oh, fuck you, Wayne.
Remember, I met Daniel Lanois and he was happy that I played sitar.
I want to get Daniel Lanois on the show.
Oh yeah.
Like, I feel like this guy.
He's the guy. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. But you know what? I don't even want to talk to him about anything else he's done except that one thing I saw him do on Tiny Desk.
Oh, that was amazing.
With the tapes and all the weird shit.
He had mixing console and he had the delay in it.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. I just like...
That was amazing. He's just running the tracks. And,
dude, I'm still not sure what was happening.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Like, I understand, but I didn't understand. And I thought that, like, that went unappreciated.
Yeah. I remember we discovered that at the same time at work. I remember.
Well, I wasn't working, so obviously.
I think you really check this out. I was like, oh, wow. That's amazing.
Well, you know, I always chalked it up to research.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a music programmer, guys. I got to be up to date on this shit, you know?
I loved it. I remember I wanted him to produce one of our records, so I went through booking agent, and then
Okay, yo, whoever is listening to this and can get me Daniel Lanois, you know what to do, man. Hit me up. Let's make this happen.
He's amazing.
What was I saying with that? See, I'm talking too much shit, man.
Tapes, plugins, mixing.
Yeah, and so right now, so what are you really up to right now? So this thing is over. You're going to start doing live shows? Because everything for you is a cycle, so to speak, right?
I'm doing a lot at the same time. I'm also working with Mean, my other band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What's up with that?
Yeah. We've been slowly working. Again, we've been working on tracks. Everyone's so busy doing their own thing, and there wasn't much movement happening with the band. Mm-hmm. So I said, fuck it. I took 2 songs that we were working on. I'm like, I want to mix something. So that was it. I was like, I'm going to mix these 2 tracks and just see if they like it. Mm-hmm. And they loved it. And that got them excited again.
Right.
They were like, fuck, this is actually really great. Mm-hmm. We didn't realize that, because Alex and Jam are in Texas, Tom's in London.
Yeah.
So they're all busy with their own world and just trying to get through this crazy shit.
Plus a time zone.
Yeah. And, but yeah, no, it was fun. I mixed it in Luna.
Right.
Universal Audio represent sponsorship.
Hey-o.
Help me out here. And it was fun. It was great. It was a real, like I said, it's like, it's a great recording system.
Mm-hmm. Well, shit, now they got to hook you up.
Yeah, it's like a mix of Logic and it has some Ableton in there as well. And there's Pro Tools. It's neat.
Okay.
But I mixed it with that, but it was so much fun. Because I've only been mixing my stuff, like my vocals.
Yeah.
So I got to work with Alex's vocals and other stuff just create this whole world. So
being a little bit removed like that allows you for even more.
And it was great. And so we're Elephant Stone's going to South by Southwest.
Yeah.
And so I wrote the guys. I'm like, hey man, I'm in town. Let's record.
Yeah. Right.
Because our setup's always been like, I'll record this. I'll send a file. Yep. And now I'm like, let's record. So the day I land at 2 p.m. I have a show with Elephant Stone at 5, and then I'm in the studio with Mean from 7 to midnight. Yeah, but we booked this beautiful studio. It's fully set up.
You just plug and play.
Yeah, like because we have ideas for songs, and it's very different songwriting than Elephant Stone. It's much more kind of hypnotic and droney and electronic in some ways. So, and I don't have to sing, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, in that aspect, it's so much cooler to just be part of a band and not the band leader. It's always going to be complementary to one another.
I love being able to do stuff that's always different.
Sure.
Like, instead of just repeating yourself. Like, doing the soundtrack was completely different for me. Remember, I did the Acid House Ragas thing.
Yeah, dude, I remember that too.
Yeah, that didn't work out that well. It's funny, I got so sick of making electronic music after that because I was full into it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I sold my drum machine. I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I
understand.
As I get older, I know what I want to do.
Right.
And the Acid House, it was fun. I was happy. I was proud of it.
Dude, it sounded dope.
Nobody listened to it.
Well, that's
if anyone out there, it's Acid House Rockers.
Ayo. You know, man, as you get older and you accumulate the wealth of experience and knowledge that you do through your practice, like, I want to know, like, for real. At this point, why do you, like, and I know that you like doing it and all that good stuff, but, like, why do you do it? Because it's so much work.
So much work.
It's a lot of work. And, you know, the fun of it is one thing, but, like, I know that it's something else beyond fun. It serves something in you. It has to, you know, like, what keeps you doing this?
Well, starting Elephant Stone was like the big thing. It was like, I remember I quit my old band. I was like, I'm done with rock and roll. Like, it's such a shallow existence. I'm giving nothing meaningful to the world. I'm not being true to myself. It's not expressional. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm just in this band playing city to city and just like, whatever, it means nothing to me. So I quit that. And I was kind of done with music. I was just going to focus on sitar. And man, it was hard, man. Like, you know, it's like every point when there's a big change in your life, you're like, who am I?
Yeah.
Because I was part of that band for 10 years, since I was like 17. So 10 years of that.
Big part of your identity.
Identity. So like, who am I? Who am I? Mm. And so I had to go on this long journey to figure out who I am. And along that path, you live your life. Mm. There's like struggles. I remember the big thing was my wife and I having a miscarriage. That was the big thing. Because that happened, and heavy grief, both of us. And my way of trying to deal with that was like started writing songs just to kind of get the emotions out. I would tap into the sadness that I felt to create something. I tried to create something beautiful out of the sadness. And I kept doing that. Songs kept coming. And so it initially started as a form of therapy for me, that I could take this heavy emotion and create something out of it. Mm-hmm. And I find that's what keeps me sane, pretty much. Like, I think I have a lot of things going on in my head all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and my ego, I feel like I have something to prove to myself all the time. I'm not a lazy person. I always like being active.
Why do you think that is? That because I really relate that to myself as well, the ego. And I know that I'm always trying to prove something to myself. And I think that it just becomes this thing where, like, I did some therapy last year. And I really found that, like, I lacked so much love and attention that it's like, I think I'm in a deep way, in a much healthier way, still trying to... Because no one is as hungry as artists can be. Like, you're always doing something, and you're always doing it at such a high level. And so am I, like, in my own way. But what I mean by that is that, like, artists are constantly digging and going. And it's like, yo, like, I think I need to be addressing some of the issues as to why.
Well, yeah, because we're fucked up a bit, right?
Yeah,
I know. Like,
you know, and it's like, fuck, like, do I just keep doing this because it's healthy? And at the same time, I want to cure and, like, not cure, but, like, you know, understand myself better. Because I know that I meet some artists sometimes, and their level of self-awareness as to the reasons why they're doing things is almost non-existent. Mm-hmm. It's purely ego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, where, like, I find that, like, there's such a wealth of self-understanding to ask myself the questions, why am I killing myself doing this? You know? Because I could be happy doing something else, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I was my whole life. I've been a very solitary person. When I was a kid, I'd keep to myself and stuff like that. You know, just I'm sure, like, you know, we're all fucked up because of our childhood.
Yeah. In the end,
in the end, that's what it comes down to. I look at my kids and I'm trying not to fuck them up. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
They seem pretty well adjusted, but they're gonna have issues for sure. But I know it.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, you know, my upbringing, I had issues, and, you know, it's like, there's heavy stuff there that I don't go into, but it's like, that's kind of build me. And remember, I would have, like, depression throughout my life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And just like, but it's also just confusion. And And I find since I started this, and I'm a lot older now, you know, I got really, and it's like getting into like yoga and then getting very spiritual and spirituality and stuff like that. But now it's like music's my religion now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really all this journey I'm on. This is it. I don't need to tap into that heavy emotion anymore to create my music. It comes more naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. As you get more tools and more able.
You understand your workflow.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I just read Jeff Tweedy's How to Write One Song. Have you read that?
No.
That's amazing.
I need to read this?
You need to read it.
Oh,
it's just great. It's just Jeff saying, this is how anybody can write one song.
Sick.
So it's just it's a short book, and it's great. And it's him talking about his songwriting process and his workflow and his routine. And I'm very much about routine in my life.
Okay, let's talk about that, because that's important.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah.
If you don't have structure or routine in your life, you can't do anything.
There you go. That's
pure
simple.
Chaos.
Yeah, let's talk about that, man, because that's important. Like, creative people need to get organized.
Yes.
Need to create routine, healthy routines, ask themselves questions.
And never say, and people, like, everyone always says, oh, where do you find time to do this stuff? I'm like, I make time.
You know, I want to also speak on that again. It's a recurring theme on the podcast. Artists, musicians, what have you. People shit on that a lot, you know? Oh, he's an artist.
Yeah, he's lazy.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, homie, honestly, I find artists, and you're a great example of that. It takes courage. It takes determination, patience, hard work, commitment.
Yeah.
You have to be organized. You have to be vulnerable. You have to understand and always be willing to take risks. Playing in front of strangers is weird. Wanting to put yourself through that grind because you value the challenges, that's a specific kind of human being that doesn't get enough respect in society.
I mean, whenever I go on tour, I'm like, why am I doing this?
Well, right.
My wife's like, because you like doing it. I'm like, yes, that's why.
But, you know, and I feel like there's so many nice virtues that we keep speaking on since the beginning of this conversation that we go so unnoticed in public discourse. You know, like you just said, you have a routine, you're organized. Those are beautiful qualities that we need to put forth. You know, like, artists are not just people who get fucked up. That's the last thing we do.
You're not going to last if you're always getting fucked up. It's hard.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, I mean, there are those who are able to make that work.
Few and far in between.
Yeah, but I've always been very, like, regimented, and I know I need to have my routine every day.
What do you do? Is like, give me something. Give us something.
I have a coffee. I have an espresso. Then I go in the studio for half an hour, pick up a guitar every day.
Every day.
Every morning.
That's it.
Yeah.
No negotiations.
No. I'm like, my wife and Christy and I'll have a coffee. Then I'm like, all right, I'll see it.
Right.
I just go downstairs, go in the studio, pick up a guitar, and
she understands this, and that's the thing.
Yeah, it's fine. And the kids know not to bother me, and I just play around. Even if I'm not looking for songs, like right now, I'm not looking for new songs. I wrote a whole new album over the holidays, Christmas holidays.
Yeah, okay.
In over 2 weeks, I demoed a whole new record. But right now, I'm not looking for songs.
And you're still doing that.
Yeah, I just want to keep the creative juices flowing. Like, I want to see what I can come up with. And if something does come up, I'm not going to record it on my iPhone now because I don't want new songs.
Right.
If it's good enough, it'll stay with me.
Oh, okay. So
it's a test. I'm testing.
Okay,
Nothing's come up yet where it's like, wow, that's really good. But if it's good enough, I know it'll stay with me. And then, so I do that, and then I get ready. Then I go for a run.
Okay.
And usually when I go for a run in the morning, it's time to, it's just to think about, I'm always thinking about music. I don't listen to music when I go running. I just think about music.
Okay.
So
you're allowing space daily.
Yeah.
So far, it's always, all these actions are related to creativity and being creative.
Yeah, exactly. And keeping your mind attuned to it.
So you're mindful of that daily.
Yeah. It's just...
that is your purpose.
If I don't do... I'll skip a day here or two, here and there, but usually I'm always doing that. And it's just... it was exciting. Over over the holidays, I took time off work. My kids were off, my wife was off, but I'm like, I told them I'm gonna be demoing an album over the holiday, because like building up to that, every morning I'd be like, okay, usually I'm just coming up with melodies,
Okay.
and chords and everything, not
Simple. Like
Yeah, very simple, gibberish lyrics and blah blah blah. And lyrics came over the holiday. That's the thing. When I'm like gonna write a song, it's like, okay, I need lyrics now, and that's
the part. Okay.
And that's something I need to factor into my daily practice, words, and building lyrics and building that. Because melodies I have no problem with. Like,
I would say that my favorite part of writing a song is the words.
oh, that's amazing.
I love that aspect of it. I think I know I'm a poet.
Oh, that's great.
Like I live through words.
Yeah, no, for me, it's not that way at all.
I understand. Seldom do I meet an artist who agrees with me.
No, like
who feels the same way.
Like the Dylans, the Cohens, Leonard Cohens, like those are like,
yeah. And it's funny because I don't even connect with their music so much.
Yeah.
Lyrically.
But they approach it
exactly.
Yeah, words do matter because
yeah, because some words you can't say.
Yeah, some words you can say.
Yeah.
No, but like that's the thing when I'm writing the song, then like trying to figuring out a recorded demo, and then I'll listen back to what I just recorded. I'm sure a lot of people do this, and then you're like, oh, I'm trying to see if there's any sounds in there and what words make sense with those sounds, and then
but working that way, you're not coming in with a lyrical intention. You're building it backwards.
Yeah, because for me, it's the melody is.
Of course, and I'm not disparaging that when I'm saying that. I'm just saying that.
It's like the words have to then work with the melody and the rhythm and the.
I do the opposite.
Yeah,
for sure. Like I have to make sure that like, because what I noticed, it has nothing to do with what people are gonna think. It has everything to do with how they age with me. Like then I'm like, I'm happy that I said what I said, and then it's like, oh, I'm not happy that this came out in a way that I don't relate to it anymore. Because I'm like, what am I really trying to say? No. Everything is up for interpretation.
Yeah.
But my words are the thing that belong to me personally. Like the last thing, once I'm done with the song and I don't listen to it anymore, it's like I still feel good about the text.
I guess for me, because like the music conveys a certain emotion and a meaning. There's a meaning.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
It's because the melody, to me, like I said, for me, the melody dictates what the words are going to be. Because like I know my my lyrics, the theme. I know the theme of my lyrics.
Yeah, you seem to map this out before.
Well, it's
like you're very conceptual in your approach.
Yeah, no, it's like, well, like if you look through my all their albums, like I have my voice for lyrics, and it's evolved as I have evolved, like my views on things, and it's like. Hollow was a concept album, so it was a storyline. Fusée du Chagrin was a storyline, but I didn't write the lyrics. Felix did.
Right.
Which the lyrics are, he says, insoutenable légèreté, the unbearable lightness.
We're going to listen to it real soon.
But who says that,
Yeah, sure, man. French is its own thing.
Yeah.
So a couple things. I'm just curious, how many songs do you think you've written?
Oh, well
50? 100?
Well over 100.
Well over 100 songs. That's crazy.
I know, that's weird. I still feel like a failure,
Yeah, because you're always trying to beat the last song you did.
I know.
So I want to address some things that like it's a big thing on the podcast as well. Insecurities, moments of doubt in terms of like, as you said, you have a little depression after a record, more so than like the issues. I want to ask you some tools and how do you overcome the difficulties of the creative process? We all struggle with those things. It's ups and downs and ups and downs. At your age now, with the work you've done, where do you stand with all that? What are some tools you have? How do you quieten the voice? Voices?
Well, it's like I said, it's my routine. I go down, even like there's times when I go down to the studio and I have nothing. And I'll just pick up a guitar and I'll start playing and nothing. So then I'll just play like a cover. I'll play a song I know.
So do you just like, you're now in a place where you're like, it's okay. today is not like you give it less importance, or you.
Well, it's like that's a huge part of being creative is like not being too hard on yourself.
Right.
Don't be too hard on yourself. Like that's what stops a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's funny because everything I'm saying is what Jeff Tweedy says in that book. Because that's when I read it. I'm like, yes, I completely relate to this. And don't listen to the voice, like, because that initial moment when you're creating something is when you can be like, oh, this is stupid.
Yeah,
I don't want to do. Oh, no one's gonna like this. But no, it's just like you have to be able to just. That's why I like having a coffee because it gets you kind of like buzzed, right? So I'm a little buzzed when I'm playing guitar. I'm like,
okay. You're in the in between.
Yeah. Like you're kind of daydreaming a bit. You're just kind of just letting it go into like.
Well, I want whatever you're having.
Yeah, it's like a good espresso. So it's like, but yeah, no, I mean, when those days when I'm not feeling it, I still do it.
And that's what makes you feel good because you're still doing it.
No, I don't think it makes me feel good. It's just like I'm doing it, and I'm not treating as though I can't do this. And I remember I'll just go. I'll be like, well, that was shit.
Right.
And I just put the guitar down. I'm like, oh well.
Well, see, I like that. I like knowing this because that's important to me because that's really also what I'm learning and what I'm learning through with my guests and how we're exchanging. It's like, that's the idea. It's just keep pushing, keep going. You know, don't listen to like the off days. They don't mean anything. And what makes me happy is that, okay, maybe I had like 2 days this week where like it wasn't so good, but like I'm proud that I did something every day.
Yes, of course.
Because I think it's really this idea that like I'll feel guilty and worse if I don't do something for 2 weeks. And it's like, oh, I can't. It's sort of like the practice, the actual craft of it.
No, because like that's my morning, and then my evening thing is I go in the studio and then I record a bit. Not every night, but just try to do some production stuff. That's like the other. Yeah, that's like the production side. There's the songwriting, and then there's the production side.
Creative in the morning, and then critical in the.
Yeah, exactly.
I read a book. I read. I read. I have books, dog. John Cleese. You know who John Cleese is? Of course. He wrote a book called Creativity, and it's a short book. It's super short. Because he's referencing Mark Twain that says, I'm sorry I wrote such a long letter. I didn't have time to write a shorter one. So his thinking was that like, if it's a good idea, you can shorten it. Yeah. So his book on creativity is very short. Yeah. And knowledge, I mean, imagine the wisdom this guy can share. You should read that book too. It's going to take you half an hour and you'll be like on the moon. And he says a thing that stuck to me, creative brain, critical brain. When you are being creative, do not bring in the critical brain.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's such a simple thought that I did not really think of before. Ever since I know this, I'm much cooler now.
That's what stops a lot of people from moving forward.
And I've done music with other people, and I have actually told them, no. You're being critical right now. I don't want to hear this. I'm just creating.
Yeah.
Don't stop us. And everybody understands what I mean when I say that. They're like, oh, right. And then suddenly it becomes play. We're playing.
That's impressive. It's hard to get everyone on the same wavelength like that.
I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, but that's so true. That's so true.
Right? Yeah. So before we go into the stems, I always like to know from all my guests, what is the easiest part of your creative process for you? What is, the thing that you excel at the most, that comes out of you most naturally, or?
Yeah, it's melody.
Melody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
And what is the hardest part of your creative process?
Lyrics.
Boom. Okay.
Boom.
Settled.
So that's what it is. Yeah.
All right. Let's hear this song, man. Let's start with the drums.
Oh, yeah. It's Miles Dupérignon.
Man, you guys always get like these amazing drum tones too.
He recorded these drums at his studio.
Okay.
Yeah. Through, what's his, he has this nice console. I forgot what the console is.
I love how you guys go all in immediately.
Well, there's like this NASA countdown in the intro.
Yeah, we'll hear it for sure.
Sounds like Lust for Life.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah the Stooges.
Iggy Pop, solo.
Yes. Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Man, I always feel like the drum sounds in your songs are always like, because right now this is unprocessed, right? Or
oh no, this is the. It's not going through the master processing, but it's got the drum bus processing everything.
Right, but it doesn't have the. It's missing some shimmer, I feel, from the master.
Yeah. I have my little tricks, my little icing on the cake I put on. Yeah.
And this is all like live drums?
Live drums, this song's interesting because it's in 6/8.
Okay.
It sounds 4/4, but it's actually 6/8. It's got this guitar riff that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4,
okay, it's
5,
just
6,
that
1,
you can't really tell on the drums of it.
Yeah, and it's a tricky song to play because I keep forgetting where the one is. Because I'm playing, like we're starting to play this live now, and so it's all really driving, but it's in that 6/8.
I found that timing is really more complicated on other instruments than it is on drums. Because I found like when I play guitar, sometimes that's when I'll do weird time signatures because I'm trying to complete a riff.
Mm-hmm.
But like on drums, by itself, it's like everything could be any time signature.
Yeah.
It's when you add the other instruments that it's like, oh.
Well, the accent, yeah, it depends where you put the accents.
Yeah.
Like this is like this crazy chromatic descending double octave thing.
And you're a bass player. This is your main instrument, right?
Yes.
We could say that.
Yeah. I play bass.
I've done this before.
I've done this before. What do we got here? That's cool. It's Robbie's guitar.
Ugh.
Oh, the guitar's on that too. That's funny that I gave you that. That bass.
It's nasty.
Oh yeah, it's like that's the thing about mixing. You realize bass you can make really nasty, and that's what makes it.
Yuck.
Yeah, I know.
Ugh.
It's amazing.
And I can, on that drum.
But it's funny because it sounds like it's mixed with the effects track as well. That's cool. It's got the keyboards there as well.
That's what happens when you give me stems to export.
Oh, that bass, yeah, I like that. That's my Fender P bass, and I reamp it through twin reverb.
Okay.
And just put a lot of like saturation on it.
When you wrote that song,
yeah,
did you write it on bass or on guitar?
Yeah, guitar. It's a guitar riff I had for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the thing.
So it's funny because it's like I would say, what's that song about? But you didn't write the lyrics. So it's like you're removed from that process.
Well, I know I know what the song's about because it's a part of the storyline. Like I gave it to Felix. I'm like, M Lonely is about M Lonely. Fusée Shag. I didn't have the titles of the songs. This one's about him leaving Earth to the moon.
Right.
This is him. The next part 3 is about him on the moon, reflecting about Earth.
Yeah.
And then the last part's about him returning to Earth to die. So I'm like, that's
light
the
subject matter.
Yeah, that's the storyline, man. Just write great lyrics, and he did it, and he's amazing.
Felix Dyotte.
Do you know his music?
I know him actually. I'm sorry to say I'm not very familiar.
Great stuff. He like works with Pierre Lapointe as well, and
that's I know. I mean, I know
he's
of
in
him.
that world. He's a great. It's funny. The reason I worked with him, like I've known him for years, and I just remember like he used to be in Chinatown. The Stills, who were friends of mine, recorded.
He was in the Stills?
No, but he's friends with Tim and all that whole world. They grew up together. They covered one of his Chinatown songs.
Got it.
And so I ran into him once at a cafe on Park, and he was just sitting there on a sofa with a notebook. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He goes like, I'm writing lyrics. Yeah. I'm like, you're just sitting at a cafe writing lyrics? I'm like, who does that? And that's always stuck with me. I'm like, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were in France, it would have just been a common thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So I went to him for this. This is interesting. This is like a mix of a bunch of stuff. Yeah, this guitar part was Robbie came up with on his.
It sounds good.
It's going through. Do you have the Sound Toys plugin suite?
I have no plugins.
You don't have any plugins. You just use the Ableton stuff they have.
I mean, I have like 2 plugins, but like I have no.
Sound Toys makes amazing plugins, and that's like. It's like I think it's like a reverse delay reverb or something. I don't know.
Oh, really?
It's really trippy. You can do really cool stuff.
Even Tide has a nice pedal that does that stuff. Ugh, I want it.
The bass. It sounds like Lemmy. It was like Motorhead.
Yeah.
This,
That song, I'm telling you, that song was like, it's everything. Everything's in that song.
No, it's funny. That song's great. I remember recording. I was like, oh, I sound like Lemmy. It's amazing.
I can't believe he died. I didn't think he was ever going to die.
I can't believe you lived.
When you put it like that.
When you sing like that, I don't know how people sing like that. That's NASA. That's a NASA sample I took.
Got it.
So what's on this?
The keys.
6, 5, 4,
I had to do a lot of fixing on this audio track.
0. All engine running.
Yeah. My Farfisa
Yeah, man.
through the Moog
Ugh.
low pass filter.
It sounds amazing.
I love the Farfisa.
It's like
Going through my Space Echo.
All right.
That was a great purchase.
This, I bet. This feels like set the controls
Oh,
for the heart of the sun.
Every song has to be like that.
Yeah,
Oh my
man.
god! Oh, it's gonna get. What's that crazy block on the wave? It's gonna get loud.
Let's get fucked up.
What's that?
I don't know.
Oh, I know. It's my the synth. That's the Poly D, the Behringer Poly D.
Yes.
I had that for a bit. Through the Space Echo, I think, as well. Like the bending.
Absolutely, of course.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. But I had the Behringer Poly D for a bit, and I sold it.
I have a Model D.
Yep.
I would have gotten the Poly D if I could have.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does great bass lines.
Yeah. No, I with synths, you buy synths, and I keep selling synths. And now I bought JX3P Roland.
Okay.
Great synth.
Beautiful.
What is
Beautiful. What is that?
That's the Krumar Multi-Man S. That's it's my string synth. When you came over, remember we played?
I was gonna mention that.
Yeah, we used the Krumar.
Dude, you plugged all your synths and you gave me a take of everything and a sick bass take.
I remember that, yeah.
I would have loved to finish that.
It's a phaser and stuff, yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Oh, Farfisa bass.
Ugh,
With some Morse code.
so nasty.
Morse code in there?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I just want to be the synth guy in your band.
That's so much fun. Oh, that's the Poly D.
Got it.
Loved it. Felt like
Man, you're getting some tasty sounds in there. It's like, wow.
it's a super synthy track. It's very proggy. It's great.
It's beautiful. The references, I hear the references and I love it.
It's like very craft work and stuff. You know, it's great. Oh. That's a fun thing. Like,
Dude, that's see Emily play from Pink Floyd. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
in all the best of ways.
That's a great thing about like the mixing thing makes you realize how dirty you can make things sound. Things shouldn't be clean unless.
That's the idea, yeah. Ooh. Dude, amazing. I love doing this.
Yeah. That's right, Pink Floyd, yeah.
Chromatic. Beautiful.
It's a fun song to play live because there's so many ascending, descending chromatic things that you get confused. You're like, where am I?
Do you find it difficult? Yeah, like, especially since you're singing and you're like, oh.
It takes some getting used to.
And then your face changes with the...
We haven't played this live much. We played it once, but...
That was a beautiful adventure. I'm already like sold. Let's go for the guitars now.
Ooh. I play this on my 12-string acoustic.
This is a 12-string acoustic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Open G tuning. Just the intro. That was me. My guitar control. That's Jason on fuzzy guitar. It was great because I sent him the like it was Miles, Robbie, and me. We recorded it, the bed tracks. I overdubbed, and I brought Jason in at the ending. I just sent to the tracks, then he added all this amazing guitar, Fender Rhodes, backing vocals. He's great.
Sick.
And then it gets quiet.
Yeah, I loved those spaces.
Yeah, it's all about it's Robbie's shoegaze, My Bloody Valentine. It was a really fun song to mix because there's so much in it.
Yeah.
And trying to make everything fit.
Yeah, that must have been a challenge.
It was. Because
essentially you're removing a lot of stuff from a lot of things. Otherwise, it's too much.
You know, it's like when you're mixing, they always tell you don't just mix with the sound soloed, mix with the song.
Of course.
Because like people will be like, oh, why does it sound so crappy? I'm like, yeah, but put it in the song. It sounds amazing.
Absolutely.
Like you hear this your whole life. I remember always attending mixing sessions and telling, oh, my bass doesn't sound like James Jamerson or something like that. And they're like, what?
But I mean, you know, and I mean this way past the fact that we know each other. I love your songwriting. I love your choices. I love your.
Oh, thanks, man.
You know, the decisions you take in your music really speak to me.
No, thanks. Yeah. This is a song I've had for about 10 years.
Really?
I had the riff for 10 years. Just never knowing what to do with it because it's a weird song. That's a Fender Rhodes too. The distorted. That's from Jason, yeah. So it was just like I never knew what to do with it, and it was only when I was building the concept for the original.
Well, we don't lose good ideas; they're like in the computer.
Well,
somewhere,
actually, like the first "Mr. Lonely" was a song I wrote with. That's pretty cool. When I was in the Black Angels, we got drunk in Nashville.
Okay.
We got drunk in Nashville backstage.
Okay.
And Christian and I our guitars were just playing, and I came up with jigga 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 jigga, and I was like, and the original name was Mr. Horny.
Nice. How things change.
It was Mr. Horny, he's all so lonely. And so it was a big joke. It was a joke song. And then it became...
And then you made a hit.
Yeah, it's a hit. Yeah, exactly. It's a hit. Exactly. Great guitar. That's great guitar.
So the guitar that I'm hearing right now, it sounds fairly clean. What's the...
Yeah, Robbie's... There's a couple of guitars in there. There's a rhythm kind of like a chicken scratch.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that was probably DI'd. That was DI guitar.
Right, because it sounds so...
Yeah, it's percussive. It's very present. Yeah. This is like Soundgarden. Drop D tuning. It's just...
It's like, you know, live, this is just going to hurt you.
I know, I hope so.
It's like, fuck, settle down, guys.
Yeah. It's fun. It's great because I haven't heard all these stems since I mixed it like over a year ago. So
that's the main comment I get here. So effects.
Ooh. I guess this is all the reverb. Yeah.
These are your sends? Like your...
Yeah. It's like the plate, spring... a bunch of...
I love the fact that like now I have like this podcasting where we get like plate reverb, spring reverb, dog. It's like...
It's great. No, it's great. It's like...
I was talking to this girl and she doesn't know me, but she's like, I listen to your podcast, and she's like, every now and then you guys get really geeky and I lose it, but like I still listen. I'm like, we're doing you a favor.
Wait. Oh, bass is being sent through spring reverb, I think.
Okay.
Some backwards reverb on the vocals. Drums that's like a drum. Yeah.
You know what would be a really interesting album is that you ask all these artists to give you their return tracks. Just the return tracks. And you get everybody's return tracks and you make like the most psychedelic record ever. Right?
It'd be pretty washy, yeah?
Dude. And you just put a kick on this? Yeah, you make like house music?
Yeah, totally. Ouch. Be like an ambient record.
But I live for this shit though.
And there's an MS-20 there as well, probably. It's just fun. It's like, you really like, mixing is like a painting. You know, it's definitely like making a painting.
I wonder the non-musicians that are listening to this are probably going, "What the fuck are they talking
Band
about?
sucks,
What is
man. They don't even know what they're doing. Everything, put reverb on everything. What is this?
Turn down the suck knob. What's that from?
Yeah. I turn down the suck. I don't-
Turn down the. That's from Wayne's World.
That is Wayne's World, exactly. That's the thing. It's like with how everyone's recording these days, we don't have the luxury of getting into a big studio with a big, beautiful room. So we have to
Make the room.
Make the room, and so that's what. Like for the next album, I booked. There's a studio in a church.
Wow. There's a church
in Montreal. Okay. It's Mechanic Land Studios. They have an old Neve in there. They used to be Studio Frisson, I think. But so we're gonna record. I want to record the bass, drums, guitar, keyboards live in the church. And I want to try to get. Now that I'm mixing, I'm like, why not make my job easier and get a nice room sound to start off?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Because everyone's using plugins, but to get an authentic room sound again would be so nice.
I almost feel though you would have to rehearse in that room beforehand to understand what the room is going to sound like, and if you want to use that sound.
That's the thing. I don't know how it's going to sound like.
I would almost book a day there.
Yeah.
You know, you say, hey, I just want to bring in and jam and listen to it.
No. It's a huge thing. What I might do is I might go to the studio and just to hear what they recorded.
Yeah.
Because I went there and I looked around. It was beautiful, open, like the lights coming in. It felt perfect for creation.
It looks, but does it sound?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's gonna. Yeah. That's my fear too. Is that like, I almost feel like my room would sound good. I could use it as a room.
Yeah. Well, like my studio, for Hollow, we recorded all the drums there. And listening back to Hollow now compared to this, like Miles's room is a bit more open. And I mixed it.
For drums, yeah.
Yeah, so I mixed it, and I find the drums sound better on this than it did on Hollow.
All right, so
maybe it's just because I did it. You know?
Most probably. Let's listen to those.
What's this?
The vocals.
Oh dear.
Hold on a second.
Gonna get right in there. Rishi Dhir en français.
Et un texte de Felix Dyotte.
Ouais,
amazing.
It's funny. I was listening yesterday. Felix sent me like rough demo of of him singing for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Je ne saurais comment vous dire, je ne saurais comment décrire ce sentiment à conquérir et la lune de mon point de mire. J'ai décollé à l'unisson.
I took out all those breaths and throat clearings. Yeah, vocals. That was a big thing.
Beautiful challenge. Beautiful challenge.
Yeah, it was a mindfuck, definitely, but it was worth it in the end.
I love that. That's why I like artists, man. We keep challenging ourselves.
Yeah, why do the same thing over and over?
Human beings don't tend to want to do that.
Well, I think it's if you're continually unsuccessful artist, you have nothing to prove to anyone. You know? If you're like U2 or whatever, you're gonna keep doing the same thing.
I guess.
But they've changed a bit, but then they're still doing the same.
U2 was a bad example.
No, but there's a
hold on.
Oh, that harmony.
Mm.
I think I'm using a vocoder on the harmony too.
Mm. But that's a good place to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking to me, baby.
The throw delay.
Ugh.
That's all about, man. But that's it. It's like, if you have nothing to prove, you don't have to.
If your band sucks, your band sucks. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Can I do this while I'm recording? Let's see. Oh, yeah, I can. Great.
Oh, God. Oh, Ableton. What can't you do?
Yeah, well, when you're recording, I found it's different. You can't do some certain manipulations.
Oh, yeah, of course not. Yeah.
And right now we can.
That's nice.
Sometimes I mess up, man. During this podcast, it's so DIY.
Oh, so this is the outro one, the chromatic.
Ooh.
J'atterris sur le secret, me voilà encore libre.
Yeah, the vocoder was there.
That must be difficult to do live, though. It will be difficult.
Yeah, well, I know.
That
That was melodined for sure. That was pitch corrected. So yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like doing this in the studio and being so focused on your vocals and be able to fix it was one thing. And then I remember I had to do this, and then we started getting back into playing live during the pandemic. We did a live session here, Oskank.
Yeah, I know. We were supposed to. We missed opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. No, and so like we started doing a lot of live sessions, and I got really insecure about my vocals because I'm like, in the studio I can make it perfect, but I'm like, oh fuck live. I'm like, oh, okay, it was just.
That's as if to prove my point about not using too many tools on my voice and keep doing the take until I get it perfect. I found myself recently in the rehearsals less stressed about my voice.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I'm used to singing it over and over with not a ton of processing.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, you have to learn to accept your voice.
Yes.
And know how to. Yeah.
That is my number one thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, live. I mean, like, make sure you're warmed up.
There you go.
Avoid dairy.
Noted.
Cut back on dairy. That's what I learned.
So I don't smoke anymore, by the way.
Oh, that's huge.
That's
great.
1 year and 6 months out.
That's amazing.
So no smoking, no dairy.
No dairy. Drink. Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. Not too hydrated, apparently.
Well, you can. Well,
whatever.
What does too hydrated mean? What does that even mean? That's like,
you're too. Yo, guys, I'm too hydrated, man.
It's like I can't perform, guys. Sorry. My lungs are still full of water.
That is such a Spinal Tap thing.
And it's just like that's the thing for me. Don't get too drunk. Beers, and too much gassy kind of stuff isn't good for you.
I really feel like I like having a beer after.
That's good.
Because then I'm like, the nerves come down. I'm loosey-goosey.
As I've gotten older, I've got like heartburn and all this stuff. I can't hardly drink any. Gin and tonics, I'm okay with gin.
I'm looking forward to drinking a beer after the shows and going to talk to girls.
Yeah.
That's going to be my thing. Rishi, I think I'm going to give your liberty.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm really happy that you came today. Can you tell us, before we go, what's your Instagram handle?
Elephant Stone.
That's it.
That's it.
Are you plugging? Do you have like a show? Do you have something that you can plug, that you need to plug, that you want to plug?
Well, I guess Le Voyage de M, Dans la Lune. Yeah, that's the new album. It's out there.
Partout, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I would like to remind everybody that is listening right now to take out their phones. You're on your phone right now, dog, right? So take out your phone, open your app, and follow the podcast. Give us a review. Leave us a comment. I don't care. We need it. It counts. Rishi, thank you very much.
Sasha, love you.